takes you higher. I will forever be intertwined with you. Where the sun never goes down and time has slowed down. Would it be too crazy if we decided to stay forever? Decided to stay forever, forever.
find you. Look, kid. Bad things happen, and you can't do anything about it, right? Wrong! When the world turns its back on you, you turn your back on the world.
Well, that's not what I was told.
Then maybe you need a new lesson. Repeat after me. Hakuna Matata.
What?
Hakuna Matata. It means no worries.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We're about to start our program. In the respect of the event, if you could please silence your phones, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Repeat after me. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. feel good. That feels good. Baby. That feels good. Baby. That feels good. Baby. That feels good. Baby.
No. We don't announce a new entrant.
That feels good. Baby. That feels good. Baby.
You okay? As soon as they said we're starting. Okay. Let's do it. Honorable ministers. Honorable ministers. Honorable ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Welcome to the closing ceremony of the World Urban Forum. I'm Joan Erickett.
And I'm Jeanette Ellsworth. We hope you have enjoyed the World Urban Forum this week. We've had a packed schedule and some absolutely fantastic events. More than 500 different opportunities to connect with partners and friends working directly on sustainable urban development.
I hope you've also had a chance to enjoy our vibrant city, Kuala Lumpur, in particular, the Urban Village, which is a showcase of some of the most exciting and innovative solutions to urban challenges. It really demonstrates some of the concepts we've been talking about here in practice.
As we have heard in the discussions taking place this week, the new urban agenda presents a roadmap for good practice in sustainable urbanization and an opportunity to work in a holistic manner towards the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 11, to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable.
And these efforts go beyond the usual urban development arena. Ladies and gentlemen, we have several videos to share with you from people who have sent their wishes and thoughts this week. First, we would like to share the video message kindly sent to us by His Royal Highness Prince Charles, which we did not have the chance to see in its entirety at the opening.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to send this message to you in Kuala Lumpur for the 9th session of the World Urban Forum. Now, I'm only sorry I cannot be with you in person, as the vitally important matters you will discuss require decisive action if we are to have any hope of achieving the critical Sustainable Development Goals, which, as you all know, are so dependent upon practical implementation of the new urban agenda. Failure to grasp these issues within the limited and ever-decreasing time available will have catastrophic consequences for our planet. What continues to be so very difficult to comprehend beyond this audience, ladies and gentlemen, is that the world's urban population is expected almost to double in the next 40 years. This alarmingly rapid urbanization presents urgent and complex challenges for both people and the planet. However, if the world's urban footprint is to grow, we do have an unprecedented opportunity to redefine urban development. If, and only if, planned and managed sensitively, cities can add social, environmental, and commercial value in a way that helps to tackle climate change and foster inclusive prosperity. It seems important to me that we also put equal emphasis on ensuring an holistic approach to urbanization, one which considers settlements of all sizes and enhances the real and effective integration between urban and rural areas, so that vital ecosystems, biodiversity, and food production are maintained into the future. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, whilst we need to identify solutions for urban growth, we must not forget that there could also be opportunities to provide smaller rural settlements with digital technology to deliver information to villages, so that access to microfinance, social networks, and online education can enable a sustainable, distributed economy in which most people could walk or bicycle for their everyday needs. Interestingly, my old university, Cambridge, is researching the whole issue of smart villages as part of the Cambridge Malaysian Education and Development Trust. Now, it would seem obvious that as the urbanization we face is so rapid, then our response to planning and managing that growth must be equally swift. Essential tools in this respect are urban codes and architectural pattern books. When used properly, urban codes can enhance creative freedom and diversity and establish overall coherence within each town and city. Vital, ladies and gentlemen, if we are to ensure that any such vast urban growth brings some sense of character and human scale, let alone genuine sustainability. Equally vital are rapid response plans which can, at the most basic level, help to protect primary public spaces, transport infrastructure, and green corridors that provide a framework for sustainable growth. A kind of bare bones approach to planning in which local communities, of course, have such a vital and invaluable role to play. Ladies and gentlemen, you have my very best wishes for your deliberations over the coming days in Malaysia, a country I was thrilled to have the opportunity to visit last November. During that tour, I was also delighted to meet Datuk Maimuna Mohammed Sharif, and now to learn subsequently that she has been appointed as the new Executive Director for UN Habitat. I can only wish her every success in what is surely one of the most important agendas of our time. So I would therefore urge you all to seize the opportunity of this unique gathering to share and develop practical initiatives and working partnerships that will make the new urban agenda a transformative reality. Business as usual is not an option if we are to deliver meaningful and positive change for the growing number of people living in towns and cities, and for the generations yet to come whose future is literally in our hands.
Central to the debates going on here this week is how we can implement the new urban agenda. To guide that process is UN Habitat through its work plan, which is decided by the member states. We are delighted to share with you a video from the chair of our governing council, His Excellency Hardeep Singh Puri, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development of India.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure as the incoming President of the Governing Council of UN Habitat to take this opportunity to share a few thoughts on the successful convening of the 9th World Urban Forum. I congratulate my colleagues at UN Habitat for selecting a highly relevant theme, Cities 2030, Cities for All. Implementing the new urban agenda. The 9th World Urban Forum follows on the Habitat 3 conference in 2016, where the global community adopted the new urban agenda. The timing of this forum has been appropriate. It has allowed us to reflect on issues relating to the implementation of the new urban agenda. How do we come together as a world community to make cities for all? The large number of workshops, consultations, and bilateral meetings, as well as casual conversations in the hallways and the coffee tables, have raised the tempo, the tone, and tenor of our global urban dialogue on sustainable development. Friends and colleagues, the history of the world teaches us that urbanization and the planned development of cities are a highly effective force that drives economic growth, social upliftment, and inclusive prosperity. The new urban agenda has recognized, not only in Goal 11, but in a large number of other goals, that cities are crucial for addressing the most difficult global challenges of the 21st century, namely increasing vulnerability due to climate change, environmental degradation due to man-made factors, rising inequality, resource scarcities, and the need for sustainable livelihoods. Governments around the world have recognized that if we can achieve the 2030 agenda, it will give us a once-in-a-generation opportunity to trigger a truly universal transformation in the lives of billions of people worldwide. Achieving the Sustainable Development Goals will require full commitment and ownership at all levels of government, central, state, and municipal, while also ensuring the full participation of civil society, academia, and research and development organizations. One of the key outcomes of this World Urban Forum will be the documentation of numerous dialogues and deliberations that have taken place during the past 7 days. This will provide a guide and direction to member states and global stakeholders for mainstreaming the new urban agenda in their national urban strategies and plans. It will also help us all to accelerate the implementation of our collective goals. I must mention that I have had the pleasure at this event to meet with some highly committed and enthusiastic leaders who are shaping the urban agenda, both in political and other ways, in their respective countries. In the next 12 years, the implementation of the new urban agenda will require committed leadership, a diverse range of management skills, and the strengthening of regional and country offices of UN Habitat and our partner organizations, so that we can all be more efficient, transparent, and responsive to the needs on the ground. I thank the government of Malaysia for their truly Asian hospitality and efforts in making the event successful. The government of Malaysia has meticulously guided, supervised, and coordinated the event in the spirit of partnership with UN Habitat. There are many deliberations around the subject of strengthening UN Habitat, including the governance structure and finances. The organization has a unique opportunity now with the incoming new leadership. I congratulate the new executive director and her team in organizing this event and request them to share the outcomes, practices, knowledge, products, and concrete solutions which were deliberated upon during the event with all the member states so that they can benefit from these inputs for fulfilling their transformative commitments. We, the member states, look forward to working with you, Madam Maimuna, to realize the new urban agenda in substantive terms. What I can tell you as the incoming President of the Governing Council is that together with the Bureau of the Governing Council and the Bureau of the CPR and all member states, we will strive to put UN Habitat on an even keel to be able to deliver on its mandate. UN Habitat will work in the direction of strengthening our engagement with member states and supporting in their journey towards transformation. I would like to end with India's ancient prayer for universal peace and harmony, which I think can only be achieved through addressing the challenges of urbanization. Sarva bhavantu sukhinaya, sarva santu niramaya, sarva bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashid dukha bhag bhave. May all be prosperous and happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is spiritually uplifting. May no one suffer in any way. I thank you very much.
One of the most wonderful things about WUF is the international attendance. And this year has been the most successful to date in terms of regional and country balance. In addition to all the urban experts, it's also an opportunity to hear from practitioners in the field, academics, students, and people with just a sound interest in the subject areas. As we had such a packed program of events, we've pulled together some of the highlights and some of the things that perhaps we didn't all get a chance to see.
धन्यवाद.
Shukran.
Obrigada.
Gracias.
Ampuya. Ganz herzlichen Dank.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Now, as we all work on implementing the new agenda, it is really important to make sure that our work is closely aligned to the wider development agenda, and in particular, the SDG process. United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina J. Mohammed has shared a video with us that we would like to now show to you.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for this opportunity to address the 9th session of the World Urban Forum in Kuala Lumpur. This year, we mark a new era for UN Habitat as we welcome Executive Director Maimuna Mohammed Sharif. This is also the first World Urban Forum since all countries decided on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, our global plan for peace and prosperity on a healthy planet. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals come together in cities. This challenge is very clear. If we do not make a difference in urban environments, we will not achieve the change we need. I hope this week in Kuala Lumpur, you will yield the new ideas and solutions that we need. Cities are the engines of modern society and the powerhouses of the global economy. They are centers for innovation, like digitized and data-driven networks of buildings, waste systems, and transport. Cities are expected to see continued and even more rapid population growth in the next few decades, which could outpace the speed at which authorities can provide basic services like improved water and sanitation and strong health systems. More importantly, become an inclusive ecosystem that recognizes the role and contributions of our youth and women in sustainable cities. In the next 2 decades, we should expect to see urban areas in Africa and Asia grow to 50 million people or more, bigger than many small nations. We need to ensure that these megacities of the future are inclusive, green, smart, and prepared for climate-related shocks and crises of all kinds. How can we, as urban leaders, try to make sure that these cities are safe and peaceful, and that they provide homes for even their poorest residents? How can we build synergy between rural and urban areas? How can we encourage cities to become hubs that connect diverse communities, including new migrants and refugees? Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, there is already plenty of expertise around building sustainable cities. Toronto's Quayside experiment in smart city design and data-driven decision-making links technology and urbanism. In Mecca in Saudi Arabia, planners are devising new and sustainable ways to adapt to the city's annual surge in population during the Hajj pilgrimage. Nairobi's informal bus networks, the matatus, are generally being mapped and integrated into a reliable urban transport system for all passengers, especially women and girls. Mazda in Abu Dhabi is another example of striving to create the world's most sustainable eco-city through smart investments, accommodating rapid urbanization, and dramatically reducing energy, water, and waste. All these innovations are inspiring, but all too often they are ad hoc. Most cities were founded with a strategic purpose. They were located on a hill so that they would have natural defenses, or on a river for easy access to transport and trade routes. But today's cities are growing too quickly for strategic planning to keep pace. Decision-making, therefore, needs to evolve with the needs of each city and the tools of each generation. Urban planners need to access the most extensive data and the most relevant expertise. If urban growth is to be sustainable, women and young people must be front and center of all decision-making processes. Inclusivity is critical. Planners must engage the most vulnerable and those who are hardest to reach. We must listen to the voices of the marginalized and isolated communities and slums if we are truly to fulfill the 2030 Agenda and its pledge of leaving no one behind. The Sustainable Development Goals and the new urban agenda chart the way to meeting the challenge. They are your guideposts as you bring urban innovations to scale and leverage the partnerships that will be vital to success. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, here at the World Urban Forum, you have a unique platform with impressive scale and impact to mobilize partnerships, knowledge, and innovation. I encourage you all to make full use of this opportunity. We need the Urban Forum in the world today more than ever. I look forward to hearing about your discussions and outcomes. And I thank the Government of Malaysia, Prime Minister Najib Razak, and the City of Kuala Lumpur and all its residents for their warm welcome to our participants in the World Urban Forum. I wish our government colleagues, the private sector, businesses and civil society, the Executive Director Maimuna Mohammed Sharif, the entire UN family and all of you a very productive week. Thank you for your commitment to Cities for All and for implementing the new urban agenda.
Next, dear friends, I'm delighted that we have just one more video message from the President of the United Nations General Assembly, Miroslav Lajčák.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations on convening this 9th session of the World Urban Forum. I regret not being able to join you in person, but I'm pleased to address you virtually. And I want to use this opportunity to congratulate Ms. Maimuna Mohammed Sharif on being elected Executive Director of UN Habitat. The World Urban Forum has a critical role to play in making progress towards sustainable development. Implementation of the new urban agenda is essential. It helps realize development, which can significantly improve everyday lives. You have a dynamic program ahead, and I want to leave you with 3 messages. First, the world is increasingly urban. In fact, by 2050, 2/3 of the global population will live in urban areas. 80% of global GDP is generated in cities. They continue to be the engines of growth and development. But this urban growth must be properly managed. So far, the pace of development has not matched the rate of urban expansion. And this runs the risk of increasing inequalities, of leaving millions behind. Infrastructure, such as water and sanitation, housing, schools and hospitals, can become insufficient. The need for services can become overwhelming. Urban planning is essential. It ensures that as cities grow, people can live a decent life and maintain a sustainable planet. Second, we must use urbanization to drive inclusive development. The new urban agenda, adopted in 2016, provides a blueprint. It sets out how to tap the extraordinary potential of urbanization, and also how to manage its enormous challenges. As a complement to 2030 agenda, implementing the new urban agenda fully contributes to achieving sustainable development for all. Challenges can be turned into opportunities. Here are some simplified examples. Investing in infrastructure to meet the needs of the growing population is a significant job creation tool. Decent work provides income for families, resulting in less hunger and poverty. Or building green and recreational spaces, which contributes to climate action while supporting healthy lifestyles. So, urbanization should not be seen as a random byproduct of industrialization. Rather, it should be a tool for well-planned sustainable development. Third and last, we must include the voices of local authorities, experts, and stakeholders in our policy discussions and plans. The World Urban Forum provides a unique platform for this. It allows you to channel your vital contributions to the global drive for urban development and, in turn, sustainable development. Bringing together key stakeholders in this inclusive setting generates ideas, fosters partnerships, and promotes effective implementation of the new urban agenda. Your engagement over the coming days will contribute to building inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to learning of the outcomes of the forum, especially as we will review Goal 11 on sustainable cities during the high-level political forum in July this year. I wish you a successful 9th World Urban Forum. Thank you.
One of the key stakeholders in the urban agenda is young people. A significant number of people living in urban areas are youth, and we are delighted that around half of the participants at the World Urban Forum this year are under the age of 32.
Today, we are pleased to share with you a performance of the Permata Seni Choir. Permata Seni is a program designed to develop the artistic talents of Malaysian children. This choir is under the patronage of Yang Amat Berbahagia Datin Seri Rosma Mansur, wife of the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Permata Seni Choir. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them another round of applause. I think they deserve it. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Our next speaker represents a subject area of increasing visibility and is closely linked to the urban issues and development. Please welcome to the stage Director General of the International Organization of Migration, William Lacey Swing.
Mr. Minister, Madam Executive Director, Ministers, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegations, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to be with you today, and I thank the government of Malaysia, the mayor of the city, in particular our colleagues in UN Habitat for this opportunity and honor of being with you. Look, we have limited time. I want to make only 3 points, because I think these 3 points represent a nexus on which a lot of our success will depend. First one is, these are all 3 mega trends of the 21st century. The first one, and you won't be surprised since I represent the organization I do, the first one is migration as a global phenomenon. We live in a world on the move. There are more people in movement today than at any other time in recorded history. 258 million people crossing borders, and about 750 million internal migrants. China alone has more internal migrants than the rest of us do have international migrants. These are being driven by many forces. And these are forces that will mean that migration will be a megatrend for the rest of this century. In other words, 1 out of every 7 persons on the globe, 1 billion out of our 7 billion world, are migrants. Most of them are moving in a very natural and safe manner. However, we have the greatest number of forced migrants since the Second World War, about 66 million, 23 million refugees, and about 43 million displaced persons being forced to move for other reasons. The drivers are very obvious. We have at least 10 armed conflicts from the western bulge of Africa to the Himalayas without any hope of a short to medium resolution of any of these. We have the demographic divergences between global north and global south. The median age in Niger, one of the poorest countries in the world, is 14. The median age in Europe is 47. It's quite clear that youth unemployment in parts of the world will make a major change in the lives of other countries. We have deterioration of the environment and demand for labor, and the gross divergence, socioeconomic, between global north and global south. So our thesis is that large-scale migration is inevitable given these driving forces. It is absolutely necessary if jobs are to be filled, skills to be available, and economies to flourish, and it is highly desirable if we have the right policies. Thus, it seems to me that migration is and will remain a megatrend of our century. I'm particularly pleased that the new urban agenda, which we were pleased to welcome in at Quito just a year ago, that this new urban agenda addresses migration and recognizes it as a major force for good in the world if we manage it properly. Migration is an urban affair, and I want to move then to my second point, which is urbanization, also a megatrend of our time. You've heard the statistics over and over again at this conference. I won't repeat them, except to say that 3 million people are moving to cities every week. No matter how isolated or rural area a migrant comes from, almost all of them will end up in the cities. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a lot of anti-migrant sentiments, stereotypes, which are not true. The latest report by the McKinsey Global Institute shows you that 3.5% of the world's population are migrants, but they are globally producing 9% of global GDP, which is 4% more than they would have produced had they stayed at home. So I think it's quite clear that migration works favorably in the urbanization setting that we have today. They go to the cities because that's where the jobs are. It's where the security is. It's where life is. And my third point is the question of diversity. Given the drivers of migration, IOM believes that all of our societies will become inexorably more multicultural, multi-ethnic, multilingual, multi-religious. So we need to start preparing for that. Unfortunately, there is very little political courage, very little political leadership on the question of managing diversity. Integration is critical to successful migration and to successful urbanization. Most of the terrorist attacks in the last 2 years, Paris, Nice, Brussels, Barcelona, San Bernardino, California, Orlando, Florida, were all homegrown, failed integration. So we have to work on that. And my conclusion is very simple, that urbanization, migration, and diversity are not problems to be solved. They are human realities that we need to learn to manage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The United Nations Economic and Social Commission coordinates much of the Secretariat's work, and it helps to formulate and recommend policy to the member states. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Maria Chatadova, the 73rd President of ECOSOC.
His Excellency, Minister of Urban Well-being, Housing and Local Government, Madam Executive Director of the UN Habitat, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I am really pleased to have the opportunity to address you here at the closing at this important and successful forum. Over the course of the last 7 days, a spectacular amount of work on sustainable urban development has been discussed among thousands of participants from all sectors from society and all over the world. Not only is this work necessary, it is urgent. It is urgent because our urban populations are rapidly growing. If we are to address any of our most pressing global challenges as climate change, inequality, pollution, we must do so in our cities. Over the past week, the importance of building partnerships to take on these challenges in our urban environments has been repeatedly highlighted. Such coalitions need to be strengthened both among different constituencies and between them, and between local, regional, and national governments, in order to fortify our strategies towards this shared global agenda. This matches the priority that I outlined when I began my term as President of the UN Economic and Social Council. That in order to truly achieve sustainable development, we must involve all stakeholders at all levels. As part of this priority, we have planned a series of working discussions in New York, including a special meeting with local government, in which we emphasized their key role in building and mobilizing coalitions of diverse actors, and how to translate the 2030 agenda into concrete actions at the local level. The role of local governments is particularly vital, as most targets within the SDGs cannot be achieved without their active involvement. I am glad to see this has been an important topic of conversations here. Over the past few days, cities, business, civil society, and academia have also discussed creative and innovative solutions and the need to take advantage of new technologies. We have also talked about the integrated and cross-cutting nature of the SDGs and New Urban Agenda and the importance of its territorial dimension. Ladies and gentlemen, the discussion must not stop here. We must take all of the valuable knowledge that has been gained over the course of this forum and build upon our actions. We must also ensure the continuity of this discussion within the follow-up and review framework of the 2030 Agenda and its Central Global Platform, the High-Level Political Forum, which will take place from the 9th to the 18th of July in New York. The High-Level Political Forum has been set up by UN member states to convene with the UN system and a wide range of stakeholders, including local and regional governments, business and industry, civil society organizations, trade unions, indigenous peoples, youth and older persons, among others, to annually discuss progress made on implementation of this ambitious agenda and to share their experiences and lessons learned. The overarching theme of this year's HLPF, transformation towards sustainable and resilient societies, is closely connected to this World Urban Forum. The HLPF will review in-depth progress made towards SDG 6, water, 7, energy, 11, sustainable cities and communities, 12, sustainable consumption and production, 15, life on land, and 17, means of implementation. It will also look at the interlinkages that these goals have with all the SDGs. I want to ensure you that we have been following the debates over the past 7 days closely, so that we could bring the key outcomes and recommendations to the HLPF, including the first ever local and regional authorities forum to be held on the 16th of July as a part of the high-level political forum. Let me congratulate you all on your impressive work, and I look forward to seeing you this July in New York. I thank you.
Of course, debate and experience sharing is important, but equally important is for us to turn this into action and make decisive plans for what comes next. While we have been enjoying the discussions in this conference rooms, a team has been working hard to draft a declaration that paves the way forward with Cities for All at the heart of all we do. I would like to now take the time to invite some very special guests to read the World Urban Forum Kuala Lumpur Declaration.
Assalamualaikum, peace be upon you. My name is Rasa Dibaradzi. We, the participants of the 9th session of the World Urban Forum, representing national, subnational, and local governments, parliamentarians, civil society, older persons, women, youth, children, persons with disabilities, grassroots groups, indigenous peoples and local communities, private sector, foundations and philanthropists, international and regional organizations, academia, professionals and other relevant stakeholders gathered in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia to localize and scale up the implementation of the new urban agenda as an accelerator to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Led by a strong spirit of collaboration, creativity, and innovation, we share our aspirations for the future of cities 2030 as the cities for all, where no one, and no place is left behind. To this end, we call for the deployment of all efforts, means, and resources available towards the operationalization of the concept of cities for all, ensuring that all inhabitants of present and future generations, without discrimination of any kind, are able to inhabit and produce just, safe, healthy, accessible, affordable, resilient, and sustainable cities and human settlements to foster prosperity and quality of life for all. We believe that global, regional, national, and local implementation frameworks of the new urban agenda being formulated since its adoption should be supported by key enablers capable of unlocking positive transformation, such as strengthening the role of subnational and local governments, urban governance systems that ensure continuous dialogue among different levels of government and participation of all actors, and increasing multi-level and cross-sectoral coordination, transparency, and accountability. Encouraging sharing of creative solutions and innovative practices which enable a shift in mindset necessary to drive change. Building inclusive partnerships and strengthening age and gender responsive environments to ensure meaningful participation and engagement at all levels. Adopting integrated territorial development, including through appropriate urban planning and design instruments to ensure sustainable management and use of natural resources and land, appropriate compactness and density, diversity of users, and revitalization of cultural heritage. Deploying, monitoring, and reporting mechanisms, including assessment of impacts that encourage best practices for effective policy making. We draw attention to the persistent challenges faced by our cities and human settlements, such as limited opportunities and mechanisms for youth, women, and grassroots organizations, as well as other civil society organizations, local, subnational, and national governments, international and regional bodies to work together in planning, implementation, and monitoring. Inequitable access to the city, including to decent jobs, public spaces, affordable and adequate housing, and security of land, tenure, safe, efficient, and accessible public transport and mobility systems, infrastructure, and other basic services and goods that cities offer. Insufficient protection from human rights violations, including forced evictions and inadequate inclusion of people living in poverty, persons with disabilities, and other disadvantaged groups in urban planning, design, and legislation processes. Gender inequalities in urban economic and leadership spheres. We recognize that today we face emerging challenges that require urgent actions, including recognizing that crises are increasingly urban, which calls for inclusive urbanization tools adapted to local contexts and to the nature of natural and human-made disasters, and conflicts, as well as to guide humanitarian assistance, fast-track recovery, and contribute to building and sustaining peace. Managing the complexities of increased migration into cities at all levels, leveraging positive contributions of all, and using more inclusive planning approaches that facilitate social cohesion and create economic opportunities. Understanding the impact of new technologies and potential of open and accessible data, which require governance and design models that help to ensure no one is left behind. Addressing growing social and cultural inequalities, lack of access to economic opportunities that are increasingly manifested in cities, and responding to environmental degradation and climate change concerns. Jasmine, she's with the Malaysian Youth Delegation, part of the major group for children and youth. What have you got to say?
Thank you, Ras. We, the participants of the WUF9, leveraging the advantage of the forum, which convenes thousands of decision makers, key actors, stakeholders, and communities, generated a wealth of ideas. We encourage the acceleration of the implementation of the new urban agenda through frameworks such as encouraging the formulation of implementation frameworks for the new urban agenda at all levels, including monitoring mechanisms, providing a coordinated space for an effective contribution from all stakeholders, aligning to the efforts and actions of the 2030 agenda, and develop international, regional, national, subnational, and local development frameworks. Support the creation and consolidation of inclusive platforms and agendas for dialogues among all levels of government, decision makers, and stakeholders, such as regional, national, and local urban forums, and communities that can strengthen policy, review, and assessment of impacts. These can also foster exchange of experiences and cooperation, as well as scaling up voluntary commitments and actions from all partners. Further develop and advocate for integrated territorial development, which includes integration of sectoral policies, institutions, and investment, integration among the different spheres of government, spatial integration across urban and rural continuum, improved coordination across actors, and enhanced alignment of national, subnational, and local policies with international agendas. Adapt innovative and robust mechanisms for the diversification and expansion of the means of implementation to cater for complex and integrated approaches promoted by the new urban agenda. Technological innovations and improvements, research, capacity building, technical assistance, and partnership development, among others, may require enhanced resourcing. In terms of governance and partnerships, adopt multiple collaborative governance mechanisms that actively engage national, subnational, and local governments, all groups of society, including youth, women, and grassroots organizations, and particularly the excluded, vulnerable, and disadvantaged groups. This work in solidarity is critical in promoting a more buy-in and a co-responsibility in the activities towards sustaining sustainable urban development and to ensure the sustainability of all the results. Promote stakeholder constituency-based coalitions to use the implementation of the new urban agenda to better prevent, prepare, and respond to urban crises. In terms of innovative solutions, to foster a culture of creativity and innovation to be embedded in the way cities and human settlements operate. Develop monitoring and data collection mechanisms, including community-generated data, to enhance availability of information and disaggregated and comparable data at city, functional urban areas, and community levels. This would promote informed and evidence-based decision-making and policy formulation assessing progress and impacts at all levels. Create an enabling environment and develop capacities for scaling up of good practices, including municipal finance, sustainable private and public investments in urban development and job creation, and generating value while enhancing the public good. Adopt accessibility and universal design as core principles into national, subnational, and local action plans for implementing the new urban agenda through inclusive, accessible, and participatory processes and consultations. Ras?
Ladies and gentlemen, we, the participants of the 9th session of the World Urban Forum, recognize the value of the forum convened by UN Habitat as an inclusive platform to collect inputs from a broad range of stakeholders and to feed these into annual and quadrennial reporting on progress in the implementation of the new urban agenda. We call to further develop the role of UN Habitat as a focal point in the United Nations system to support all countries and mobilization of stakeholders in the implementation, follow-up, and review of the new urban agenda, including through scaled-up normative support. We thank the government of Malaysia, thank you, the city of Kuala Lumpur, and UN Habitat for organizing the forum, and commit to provide continuous cooperation to the next host, the government of the United Arab Emirates and the city of Abu Dhabi. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Distinguished guests, our next speaker has been introduced many times this week. She's a prominent face throughout the whole week, and she's been tirelessly walking the corridors to speak and meet with many of you. Please welcome Madame Maimouna Mohammed Sharif, UN Under-Secretary General and Executive Director of UN Habitat.
Thanks, Janet. Honorable Minister of Urban Wellbeing, Housing and Local Government, Yang Berhormat Tan Sri Noh bin Omar, Honorable Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economic Planning Unit, Datuk Sri Abdul Rahman Dahlan, Honorable Datuk Halimah Siddiq, Deputy Minister, Minister of Wellbeing, Housing and Local Government, Her Excellency President of the United Nations Economics and Social Council, ECOSOC, Marie Katadova, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished guests, friends, partners, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon. Welcome to the closing ceremony of the 9th World Urban Forum. It was only last Thursday, that we met in this room to begin our discussion around Cities 2030, Cities for All. At that time, I wish you all well, and we set off to engage one another in nearly 560 official events. The last figure of WUF attendance shows a total of 22,778 from 165 countries, making it the most attended and the most diverse World Urban Forum since its establishment. Congratulations to all of you. Our participants, from ministers to mayors, grassroots organizations to youth, and women's groups, representatives from civil society, NGOs, the UN, the private sector, academia, and the media have made WUF9 the success that it has been. The World Urban Forum only works because we make the decision to take the time out of our busy life to share our experience and expertise. This year, the United Nations and the Government of Malaysia welcome 102 ministers and vice ministers to this venue. I am pleased to note that 49% of our participants were women. %41 were under the age of 32. And delegation from 90% of the least developed countries attended. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we say cities for all, we mean it. A lot has happened since then. Our journeys this week were all different, but our destination is the same: inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable human settlement for all. So my question is, how far did we get this week on our journey? How has our week at World Urban Forum 9 changed our practices, our perspective? Have we changed the way in which we make decisions on urbanization, on development of our community? So I am very confident to say that 15 months after the adoption of the new urban agenda, we are on a promising path, but there is much more to do. The deliberation at this forum has reiterated the needs to be creative, innovative, and determined in our action. We must leave no one, no place behind. We must pursue safe, inclusive, prosperous, resilient, and sustainable cities and human settlements. All of us, ministers, mayors, business partners, grassroots, children, youth, and women stakeholders, together with a big team. Once we work as a big team, TEAM, together we can achieve more. You are the key to bringing sustainable urbanization to the world, working with your national government. Let us work together to do this. We must now put words into action. As I have mentioned this week, having been entrusted with United Nations Habitat, now I must walk my talk. Well, all of us has been entrusted with implementing the new urban agenda and achieving the Sustainable Development Goal. So I am calling on all of us to walk our talk. We know that the way in which cities and human settlement are planned, designed, governed, and financed influences our success in achieving every single one of UN Sustainable Development Goals. Let's not forget that sustainable urbanization and development needs to happen everywhere, from cities to villages. The role of local government, the role of mayors and stakeholders in cities are very important in the implementing the new urban agenda to attain 17 Sustainable Development Goals successfully. There is a lot of work ahead, so we must work quickly and smartly with a roadmap. This week, many of the sessions identified some persistent and unresolved challenges to working smart. The new urban agenda can only be implemented successfully by all stakeholders, not just government. It must be holistic and integrated. It must be consultative. We must together create the enabling environment to wish to be able to do so. I still remember the principle which I used when I was a mayor. Public-private people partnership is the key to success. Globally, investment in sustainable urbanization are still low in the crucial areas of urban infrastructure, housing, and services. We must improve the environment for sustainable private investments, and we must find innovative solutions to build the capacity of cities, towns, and villages to effectively manage scale-up projects. We must strengthen not only our system of accountability, but also our sense of accountability, both to financiers and communities. In this case, good governance is very crucial, which includes competency, accountability, transparency, efficiency, and effectiveness of doing things. As the first Asian woman to head UN Habitat, I felt I was in a good company this week, with the participation of many prominent women leaders in many fields. Gender mainstreaming is also a key factor to the success of cities. Gender equality will continue to be one of the underlying elements in UN Habitat's reform, in line with the Secretary General's reform of the United Nations. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am very grateful to the advisory group hosted by the Government of Malaysia, co-chaired by the President of the Governing Council, and representing all stakeholders of the WUF9 for the inspiring Kuala Lumpur Declaration. The declaration will be translated into 6 UN official languages, and I encourage you to further translate it into your own languages and popularize it within your own communities. I am delighted to announce that the Kuala Lumpur Declaration recognizes the strong spirit of collaboration, creativity, and innovation in this forum. It also recommends key enablers and action areas that you as participants believe will accelerate implementation of the new urban agenda and sustainable development goals. The declaration also calls to further develop the role of UN Habitat as a focal point in the United Nations system to support to all countries and the mobilization of stakeholders in the implementation, follow-up, and review of the new urban agenda, including through scale-up support. The declaration calls on us to develop monitoring and data collections mechanism to inform policies and decisions at all levels. With big data analytics, Internet of Things, and Industry 4.0, data may be king, but talent is everything. As the new Executive Director of UN Habitat, I have 3 words to say. I am listening, and I have been listening to you all. I have heard passionate advocates and stakeholders, the diplomatic community, my colleagues in the UN, and of course to my friends from local, regional, and national government. UN Habitat belongs to all of us. We want you to see us as your indispensable partner for sustainable urbanization. I am determined to deliver with the help of my staff and an agency that is fit for purpose. I know we must be seen to add value. We must deliver on time to the standard expected. In our coordination role, we must add value to our UN partners in supporting you all. UN Habitat wants to be a strong catalyst for the exchange of ideas between our partners. We want to drive forward our normative work as a hub of knowledge and excellence and on sustainable urbanization through our work both in Nairobi and in your countries. We will continue to work with our partners who finance our project through development and humanitarian assistance for least developed countries with our UN system partners, development banks, and private sectors to facilitate increased investment in national and local initiatives at scale. I congratulate all those who have made commitments during this forum, including by signing agreements, and I thank those who have committed to partnering with UN Habitat in moving forward. 2018 is the year to reform and strengthen UN Habitat. I appeal to all of you, please help me to make this a reality. Please. My staff and I will do our part, but I urge member states to approach the key issues of governance, financing, and institutional architecture in a strategic and consensual way. Help us to build the UN habitat you need and deserve. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to sincerely thank our host, the government of Malaysia, and the city of Kuala Lumpur for their wonderful hospitality, for the warmth they have shown the UN family and our guests over the last week. Thank you also to the 4,112 support staff and 450 volunteers who have worked tirelessly behind the scene to ensure that we had everything we needed. I'm sure that you will all agree that they have done a wonderful job in making the forum a huge success. Do you agree with me? And it would not have been possible without them. Let's give them a round of applause. It has been a distinct honor for me to meet you here, and I look forward to welcoming you at the World Urban Forum 10 in Abu Dhabi in 2020. Safe journey back home, bring back the good memories. For those who celebrate the Chinese New Year, on behalf of the United Nations Habitat, I would like to say and would like to wish you Kong Fi Fa Chai. As you see that I'm already wearing red up here to celebrate the Chinese New Year and during the weekend. Happy New Year. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director, for that very passionate and important statement. I think you can agree with me that the hospitality shown to us here this week has been remarkable. We are delighted and honored to welcome here today our host, the Honorable Tan Sri No Omar, Minister of Urban Well-being, Housing and Local Government of Malaysia, to make his address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon. Salam sejahtera, salam negaraku Malaysia. Datuk Maimunah Muhammad Sharif, Executive Director UN Habitat, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Ministers, Head of Delegation, Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Malaysia, I thank you all for your presence here, and I hope you have had an enjoyable stay in Kuala Lumpur. And I have beautiful memories to take home with you. Let me firstly thank to the Honorable Datuk Seri Abdul Rahman Dahlan, my good friend, Minister of the Prime Minister's Department, who is here with us today. He was instrumental in scoring Malaysia bid as the host of this forum during his tenure as the Minister of Urban Wellbeing, Housing and Local Government. I would like to inform that due to some very urgent matters, the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister is unable to be with us today. He apologizes to all of you. Please allow me to read his speech on his behalf. The Honorable Datuk Maimunah Sharif, Executive Director UN Habitat, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, esteemed officials, participants from NGOs, community-based groups, professionals, students, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am indeed honored to be standing here today on a world stage to officially close the 9th World Urban Forum today. The theme, City 2030, Cities for All, implementing the new urban agenda, places the forum's focus on the new urban agenda as a tool and accelerators to achieving Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. This is the first major conference following the 2016 adoption, the new urban agenda at Habitat 3 and Ecuador. I have been informed that the last 7 days have been filled with many activities and programs, from high-level ministerial meetings, assembly of grassroots, women, businesses, children and youth, dialogue session, networking events, to technical visits. It does like Olympics or conferences, only this time it is not competing for medals, but a meeting of the minds to find practical solution and action to address prevailing urban issues. Congratulations to everyone. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, seeing so many young faces today reminds me that the youth are the urban future. They will be the citizens, the managers, the employers, and the policymakers of our future cities. We all have a role to play in respecting and caring for our cities, not just to further improve on what we already have today, but also sustaining it for our future generations. It is too easy to forget that the urban problems that prevail today are a result of our inadequacies of yesterday. And the only way to address prevailing urban issues is to act without delay today for a better tomorrow. If we want to change for the better, we have to make them ourselves by not repeating mistakes of the past. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as billions more are expected to live in cities by 2030, improving the quality of life in cities is a necessity that goes beyond boundaries. Likewise, Our successes can only be built on coordinated effort of the entire international community. For instance, no nation or community can single-handedly deal with the global warming that is already having an adverse impact on our daily life, whether it is in urban, suburban, rural, or subtropical areas. Different countries are at different stages of economic growth and prosperity. We know that some are capable of doing more and have a lot more to make their cities level, whereas others may not have the capacities and financial resources to work on improving their cities. That is why a forum such as this is pertinent for us to share ideas and actions, to see ourselves working towards a common goal in making our future city as places for all, so that no one is left behind. The forum's event over the last 7 days have, I hope, created the networking for sharing of ideas and knowledge and the creation of opportunities which most of you should seize. I hope each and every one of you have taken every opportunity to fully grasp and appreciate all the success stories shared, transformative ideas, and innovative ways to deal with issues of urbanization for a successful implementation of the new urban agenda. I was also informed that there have been many dialogue sessions which have resulted in a better understanding of each other's position and enhances our ability to make informed decisions. All this, including the assemblies and high-level roundtables, have resulted in the formulation of the Kuala Lumpur Declaration. I believe this is thus the beginning of a much anticipated and hopefully journey towards a sustainable urbanization for all of us and for the generation to come. I congratulate all delegates and participants who have worked diligently to arrive at the resolutions. It may be an ambitious target which involves a great deal of hard effort and close cooperation, but it also underlines the commitment and determination of governments at all levels, professional bodies, community and non-governmental organizations, and all citizens in working closely toward a future of better cities. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, as host and signatory of the Kuala Lumpur Declaration, Malaysia agrees to uphold the principles and goals of the Kuala Lumpur Declaration and will ensure the necessary actions are implemented. We will also ensure the following. First, that the policies, strategies, and action plans in Malaysia's development policies and growth plans are enforced and implemented with the right government support of finance, coordination, manpower, and machinery. Second, that we give priority on urban issues and climate change without compromising on rural equality, social cohesion, and economic growth in all sectors. Third, we ensure the voices of the people are listened and partnership developed to have more effective action and desired outcome for the good of all. We will also ensure that the national level, the strategies and action of this year 2018 budget and the 11 Malaysia plans, which have embodied the needs to the people, will be implemented effectively and efficiently. As an example, we will ensure that the citizen or people's home ownership agenda introduced in 2013, will be continued. We aim to build 1 million affordable houses through collaboration between the state governments and the private sector. To support national innovation, our major cities need to innovate to stay relevant. Today, major cities in the world to do not only compete for investment, but also for the best talents to transform themselves. Hence, to increase the competitiveness of our nation, cities, namely Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, Kuching, and Kota Kinabalu, had been selected to spur economic growth. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, visualizing Malaysia in 2030, among others, the population will have reached about 36 million. The urbanization rate would have increased to 80%, the GDP at 2.6 trillion ringgit, GDP per capita of more than 117,000 ringgit, and the world trade would have exceeded 44 trillion US dollars. Malaysia will not neglecting the rural areas, even though the focus will be on cities and urban issues. The urban and the rural are increasingly interconnected. Rural areas have become places of consumption as leisure and recreation have become important functions of rural areas. There are also indications that increased urbanization even leads to a stronger appreciation of green areas situated for beyond city limits. Malaysia will strive to ensure that our national public policies, urban as well as regional plans, help to support economic growth while protecting natural and agricultural land use. Malaysia already has its economic plan, and we have the national physical development as well as the urban development frameworks that support sustainable development, growth, and management of our cities. To implement the strategies and programs, we are strengthening the role of the local government as the third tier of government machinery, so that they are innovative, efficient, and capable of collaborating and partnering with the community, the private sector, as well as with organizations from other countries. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, improving our cities is not a job just for either the government, the private sector, or the public. It requires collective efforts and, more importantly, to change in the way we do things. It requires public-private people partnership, the three Ps, so to speak, to achieve our goal and objective. Let's pool our resources. Let's take down barriers and seize opportunities arising from this forum. Our watchword should be knowledge, innovation, and collaboration, because sharing knowledge and learning from others is the only way to move forward. Finally, I would like to thank everyone involved in organizing this important event and ensuring it proceeded smoothly. You have had a long week and have participated actively. I am sure you are all looking forward to getting back to your respective homes. I sincerely hope you have had a memorable and enjoyable stay in Kuala Lumpur and will continue to see the rest of our beautiful country. This may be the end of 9th World Urban Forum, but it is also the new beginning for the many more great things to come. Once again, I thank you for your participation and contribution to this forum. Until we meet again in Abu Dhabi 2020, I wish you all a safe journey home. On that note, and with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I declare this forum officially closed. Thank you and terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. I would kindly ask you to remain on the stage as we will now begin the handover ceremony to World Urban Forum 10 host. Please could the Executive Director and the Chairman of the Department of Planning and Municipalities for Abu Dhabi kindly join us on the stage for the ceremonial handing over. Minister of Malaysia, kindly remove the number 9 from the ceremonial placard and hand it. Honourable Minister of Malaysia, kindly remove the number 9 from the placard to symbolize the closing of the ceremony, World Urban Forum 9. Executive Director, kindly take the number 10 and pass it ceremonially to Abu Dhabi as our host for World Urban Forum 10.
We are pleased in UN Habitat to announce that the competition to choose the site of the WUF number 10 in 2020 has been won by Abu Dhabi, the capital of the United Arab Emirates.
عزمنا أن نبني هذه الأرض، نخطط لحياة أفضل. خلقنا لنبتكر ونعمل ونصنع عالما ينبض بالحياة ليكون أجمل مكان يجمعنا، مكان نشعر فيه بالدفء والسكينة وروح المكان. حين تنظر حولك ترى الجمال، التراث والحضارة، السعادة والنشاط. تجد التناغم بين الثقافات، الاستدامة أسلوب حياة، والغد يولد اليوم. قد نتشابه أو نختلف في بعض الأحيان، لكن هناك شيء وحيد نشترك فيه: مدينتنا.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Falah Al-Ababi, Chairman of the Department of Urban Planning and Municipalities of Abu Dhabi, the host of the World Urban Forum 10.
Yes. Fantastic. Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am honored and humbled to address such a wonderful gathering here today. The UN Habitat World Urban Forum has become one of the most talked about gatherings on the international stage. Committed to building a better urban future, UN Habitat has brought us all together, sharing expertise
on the changes we face and innovative ways we can overcome them. We have witnessed the power of collaboration at this forum. It has changed the way we think about urban development, and I'm hopeful this will accelerate a positive change for a more sustainable world. UN Habitat should be applauded for having organized such a prestigious event. With the UN Habitat's unwavering support, we continue efforts in recognizing the importance of these issues. We are making a tangible difference to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, together we support a vision that embraces a sense of a common humanity, mutual recognition, and more sustainable urban future. This has led world leaders to adopt the UN Habitat New Urban Agenda, inspired by collective pursuit of learning, leverage, and large-scale ideas at this annual forum. We are incredibly proud to be part of this global journey, and equally happy to be chosen as the first Arab country to host the 10th World Urban Forum in 2020. The Arabian Gulf encompasses a wide range of resources. While natural resources are in fact important, we have many other resources that contribute to sustainability. Human capital, education, mobility, and ideas are just as important to sustainable urban development today as the resources of the past. Having witnessed the unprecedented pace of urbanization across the world, coupled with population growth, we are focused more than ever on the need for more sustainable development solutions for the future. Distinguished participants, in Abu Dhabi, we have made great advances in renewable energies in the Emirate and around the world by hosting the IRENA Global Headquarters in our city. We are also home to Shams 1, the world's largest concentrated solar energy plant. We have also implemented a sustainable program such as the Istidama Pearl rating system. The concept of Istidama, the Arabic word for sustainability, is the key element for Abu Dhabi government's vision. Istidama represents the ideal outcome of creating sustainable emirate by conserving a precious water, energy, while enriching its physical and cultural identity to improve the quality of life for our residents. This is a testament to the foresight of our founding father of the UAE, the late Sheikh Zayed, and our wise leadership, who have redefined the shape of the UAE to achieve a competitive, sustainable, and global economy. We are delighted to be given this opportunity to host such a prestigious event, discuss solutions to global challenges, while showcasing our beautiful city, country, and renowned Emirati hospitality to the world. We are confident that the 10th World Urban Forum will exceed expectations. This will reinforce Abu Dhabi as a vital government, innovative, and educational hub in the Middle East that encourages and promotes the implementation of sustainable development targets. I would like to conclude my speech by thanking the participants who have contributed to the success of the 9th World Urban Forum in Kuala Lumpur. We have achieved a significant progress here by harnessing the power of partnership. It is now up to us to make sure we bring out the best in each other to find lasting solutions and inspire a real change. We look forward to welcoming you to Abu Dhabi, the capital city of the United Arab Emirates, as the host of the UN Habitat's 10th session of the World Urban Forum. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, at the beginning of the week, we raised the UN flag over the compound to indicate the start of the official UN conference. After this closing ceremony, we would like to invite you to come with us once again and join us for the flag lowering ceremony to commemorate the end. Thank you.
Multicultural creativity around the world in every element.
take it up.